Hello, that was Arethusa, a traditional British sailor song arranged by Alan Bullard. This is the A3 piece of the ABRSM Grade 2 Flute Exam pieces from 2022. Let's have a look at the piece in general. The first thing we notice is the time signature. Now it says 4/4. The top 4 referring to the number of beats in a bar and the bottom 4 referring to the crotchets. So there are 4 crotchets in a bar. The second thing we'll notice is the key signature. Now there are no sharps or flat at the start of the piece. However, if you scan through the piece, you'll notice that there are some G sharps in there and there are also some G naturals in there. What this means is that this piece jumps between the C major and its relative minor, the A minor. Let's have a look at the G sharp. They're the same for both the octaves we're playing. We're having all of our fingers on our left hand and just the pinky on our right hand. Now, if you're not familiar with the C major and the A minor, you should definitely know it because it is part of the scale syllabus on the grade 2. You can definitely refer to the scale book if you don't know. Here is the C major. And the A minor. More specifically, this is the A harmonic minor. This is where we get the G sharp. The indicated speed here is 1/4/4 per crotchet. So this is the kind of speed we're aiming for during the exam. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You also notice that it says robustly. Now this means that we are going to play it with conviction, we are going to play it as loud as we are permitted within the dynamics, and we're going to play as long as we can with the time we're given for each piece. There doesn't seem to be a definite form in this piece. There are little bits and pieces which are repeated, but they are not enough to suggest a form as such. Right, now let's have a deep dive into the piece itself. Let's have a look at the start of the piece. The first thing you notice is that there are 8 bar of rest. Now this is for the piano accompaniment, which sounds like this. Bum, ba, ba, la, bum, ba, bum, ba, la, bum. So you hear 2 sets of repeating rhythms, and then we'll come in with what we have. So here's an example of coming in with the piano. The second thing you notice is that we have a crotchet rest before our start of our first bar. Now this is because we have an upbeat. The upbeat is used when the composer doesn't want the accent to be at the start of the phrase. Instead, we're having the accent somewhere else where the composer wanted it. So if you didn't know, each bar at the start of the bar we're going to have a heavier beat. So for example, we're counting in 3, we're going to pum cha cha, pum cha cha. Or we're counting in 4, we're going to heavy on the first one and then lighter on the second and third and fourth. So here's a demo on when we play the accent on the start of the phrase. Compared to the accent where the composer wanted it to be, which is the second beat of the phrase. Right, let's have a look at the starting phrase now. We start our phrase with an upbeat crotchet followed by quavers, which the first 2 are slurred. Then we follow by 2 tongued quavers and then a crotchet. Now this is the first rhythmic nugget that we're going to keep repeating in the phrase. And remember, because we are playing with an upbeat, we're going to start all our phrases at the end of the bar instead of the start of the bar. Make sure that the D note at the start of bar 3 with your left hand finger off, especially on the faster moving bits, is quite easy to forget about that. So here's a demo with the difference. The D with the finger on and off. It's a lot clearer D note with the finger off. We then repeat this once and then we move on to bar 5. At the start of the bar 5, we see a dotted crotchet. Now, the dot behind the crotchet gives it half the value of the note it's following, so the crotchet is being 1 beat, then the dot is going to have half a beat. So with the rhythm, the speed is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So with the upbeat to bar 5, and then bar 6 is a copy of the rhythm in bar 3 and 4, but it's a third higher. Next we have a long slur coming down from E all the way down to a G sharp, and then we're resolving this scale back on an A. Now this is why knowing the scale is important, because it will give you an advantage when you're playing this. Also notice that we are starting on a piano in this section. So we are quieter than the MF we were at, and to play quieter, we aim our air a bit downwards and play with a softer air, so less air is flowing through. So we also have a crescendo going from P back to an MF. So here's a demo. So we need to blow a bit harder and a bit warmer air so we get to the MF here. And we also make sure that the E note has the full length of 3 beats and then 2 beats rest, which we need to listen to the accompaniment afterwards. We then come into the piece with a slightly different rhythm to the start. We still have the 4 quavers and then the crotchets afterwards, but instead of having a crotchet upbeat, we're now having a quavers upbeat. We also finish the phrase differently. Instead of repeating it, we now have a dotted minimum A which follows through. So here is bar upbeat 10 to 11. And then following that, we have the same rhythm that we had in bar 5, so I won't repeat that. We are now playing in forte, which means loud, so we're playing even louder than we were at the start. Things to note in here is that bar 12 has a G sharp, but bar 13 doesn't, and that we are playing the highest note in this piece, which is the high C. Now, let's go for the high C first. The high C is just the finger, first finger on your left hand, and we're only changing embouchure. Now, we do have an octave jump here, immediately down below to not middle C, but C5. So you need to make sure that your embouchure is correct, and you need to kind of widen your blowing a little bit and blow a bit slower for the lower C. So for the higher C, you need to blow a bit sharper and blow a bit faster on the high C, but on the lower one, you blow a bit wider and aiming your flute slightly downwards. So here is the demo for bar 12. And then after that, we have another scale. Now this time, this is the C major going downwards. So we have an upbeat crotchet on the G, and then we have the scales coming downwards. Now, beat 1 and beat 3 is slurred with the quavers, but the rest isn't. So here is that bar. And we end the scale with 3 crotchets. And then we also have a crotchet, a quaver rest, which is a place for us to catch our breath quickly. So from bar 11, slightly exaggerating with the timing there, but we are now playing with MF, which is quieter than we were on the F before. Now on bar 16 we have an upbeat quaver, and then we have a new rhythm which is crotchet, 2 quavers, crotchet, 2 quavers. Now this only comes in once, so if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now on bar 17 we have the same rhythm but reversed from bar 5. So in bar 5 we had dotted crotchet, quaver, and then 2 crotchets. This time we have now reversed it to 2 quavers, and then the dotted crotchet and the quaver. So we're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So here it is. And then we have the same rhythm again from bar 20, which I just played, which is from the start. We also have a crescendo on that bar as well, going up to the forte in bar 21. Again, we have another octave jump, this time from the high E to the low E. Especially tricky because the lower notes are harder to play, so you really need to angle your flute a little bit more with your breath going downwards a bit. Also, because we have accent note, which is the arrow on top of the note is an accent, which means we need to play it stronger or in already allowed dynamics, so make sure that you get those notes correctly. Then we have 2 crotchet rest, coming down to the rhythm that we are familiar with from bar 10, exactly the same, but we end off with the piece with fortissimo, which is the 2 Fs, on another octave jump, slightly easy octave jump this time. And that was the whole piece. Well, that was the quick deep dive tutorial technical reminders of the A3 piece. This piece is trickier than the other 2 pieces with the octave jumps and the wide dynamics range going from P all the way to FF. It's definitely challenging, but I think the notes aren't that hard, especially if you know the fingerings. So if you got good breath control, good embouchure, then this piece is a good choice for you. Well, hopefully that was useful to you. I'll be putting up the rest of the pieces soon for grade 2. Give a like and subscribe if you like what I did here. Put a comment down below if you think I missed anything or you want me to go for anything specific or any just other tips and tricks for the other people watching the video. And I'll see you next time in the Master of None. Bye!